Good evening, I'm Ben Shatliff. You're watching the Prime Minister and the Sausage, a Ben Shatliff Tonight special. Now, there were some humorous nods after the Prime Minister made a gaffe during his conference speech on Tuesday at the Labour Party conference in Liverpool. However, though, he was talking about the situation in the Middle East. And many people have wondered, of course, people have made jokes about the fact of what was said, but also at the same time, there is a serious side. And this special programme this evening, the Prime Minister and the Sausage, a Ben Shatliff Tonight special, is just to talk about a little bit more about what was said there, but also the serious aspect of what was said at the same time. Because that remark could be offensive to all people who are affected by the events in the Middle East. So yes, I've seen various different jokes and heard various different things, and of course a lot of things been said on television. But of course, as I said, there can be a very serious side to what could be seen as a funny gaffe. Before we go on to that then, let's have a look at the news stories which are affecting us on this Thursday evening. We'll go to the ITV News app. And the top story tonight, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said the country's military will keep using its full force against Hezbollah despite UN calls for a ceasefire. Speaking as he landed in New York for the United Nations General Assembly, he said Israel had a clear policy. We are continuing to strike Hezbollah with full force, he said. Hours after the UK, US and allies called for a 21-day pause in fighting, Netanyahu's office refuted the rumours of a proposed deal, calling the news not true. The current boss of Harrods, who also worked for Mohammed Al-Fayed, has admitted that the business failed its staff, but denied any knowledge of sexual misconduct allegations against the former owner. 5 women claim they were raped by Mr. Al-Fayed, who died last year at the age of 94, with a number of others alleging sexual misconduct. Dozens of people are still unable to return to their homes after flooding hit a holiday park. Around 28 people, along with their pets, spent a second night at an emergency rest centre after major flooding hit the Billing Aquadome Holiday Park in Northampton. It was the third time this year the park has been closed because of flooding. And 6 patients rained from the sky, and nurses were forced to use plastic sacks with cable ties as makeshift body bags during the height of the pandemic, the COVID inquiry has heard. One of today's witnesses broke down in tears as he described the scenes from hell in the intensive care units during the COVID pandemic. There's no strangers to death, but the scale of death was truly, truly astounding, Professor Kevin Fong said. We'll now go to the Sky News app. They're leading with the situation in the Middle East. The Israeli military says it currently carrying out precise strikes in Beirut. Israel and Hezbollah can choose a different path, the US Defense Secretary has said. Speaking in London alongside his US counterpart John Healey and Australian Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles, Lloyd Austin vowed his government in Washington would help Israel. Mr. Austin described a cloud of growing global insecurity over their meeting called as part of the AUKUS deal talks, which is a security partnership between the US, UK and Australia. An amber warning for heavy rain has been issued by the Met Office, warning of further flooding and trouble disruption across large swathes of the UK. The new weather alert will cover central England from 6 p.m. on Thursday, that's today, until 6 a.m. Friday tomorrow morning. And supermodel Naomi Campbell has been disqualified from being a charity trustee for 5 years after the Charity Commission found serious mismanagement of funds at the charity she fronted. The 54-year-old model founded Fashion for Relief, a charity merging fashion and philanthropy, in 2005, but an investigation found it was a small proportion of the money went to the actual good causes. Fashion for Relief was dissolved and removed from the register of charities earlier this year. This conduct included using charity funds to pay for Campbell's stay at a 5-star hotel in Cannes in France, as well as spa treatments, room service and cigarettes. Campbell is one of 3 of the charity's trustees to be disqualified as a result of the probe. Tonight, as we think of ourselves on an autumn evening here in the northwest of England, just as this is in the rest of the United Kingdom, and I've said about what tonight's big talking point is all about, but we'll just spare a few moments and we think of the way that the world is on this Thursday, September 26, 2024. We think constantly about what is happening in Ukraine. We know the latest threats by Putin and threatening nuclear weapons, which is something which he's been saying for over 2.5 years. We also think of the ever increasing conflict in the Middle East. And we think of the victims on all sides, both in Israel, in Gaza, Israel and Lebanon. And we just think about the way that things escalate, and we think if things could de-escalate, and peace in our entire world is something which I've very often spoke about here on Ben Shatliff Online, be it through Ben Shatliff on Sunday, be it now through Ben Shatliff tonight. I'm also wondering if we're actually having a few connection issues this evening, because I've noticed as everything keeps stopping, so I do apologise if there is some kind of a technical issue. I try and broadcast live, but we have the candles and we have various different religious things in our background here, because I am a practicing Catholic, and you think of peace and hope in our world. We all struggled through the pandemic, which is when we started doing a lot of our programs anyway, and we moved on from the pandemic, but then the war in Ukraine started, a full-scale war, and over the last almost 12 months we've been seeing what's been happening in the Middle East. But there's been many things over, not just over the years, but over the centuries as well. So let's just take a moment of reflection, just for a few moments, and just think about peace in our world for just a few moments. Thank you. This links now to what tonight's big talking point is about, and I know there are some technical issues at the beginning of the programme, and I said tonight's programme, which is called The Prime Minister and the Sausage, a Ben Shatliff Tonight special. Now, some people understandably thought, oh, sausage is humorous. Yeah, don't get me wrong, somebody makes a gaffe and it can be humorous, but also there's this serious nature behind what was said, because Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, was referring to the hostages, the Israeli hostages, about trying to get the hostages home, the ones who are still living, the ones who survived. But he said the word sausages. Okay, that would seem humorous. But there's also the other serious side in relation to that as well, that Jewish people do not eat sausages, and also Muslim people will only eat certain halal sausages. So there's these serious context behind these things. Some people might think I'm going over the top, but I'm seeing things here from both sides, and also the serious implication in relation to this. I don't know if there's been any kind of an apology or anything like that, or acknowledgement, although directly as soon as he said sausages, he did say hostages directly afterwards. It wasn't a slip of the tongue, it was an error. But we don't go away. And people can make errors. Sometimes I've made some errors on some of these live programs, but I'm not the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I'm not the President of the United States of America. And therefore, things are on altitude as well. None of this is on altitude. I mean, okay, I'm actually from the Sky News and the ITV News app, but also at the same time, you've got to try and get things and also do ad lib as well. So you've got to make sure when you're in these positions that you do things correctly right. So yes, it may have sounded comical, but also at the same time, there's a serious message, serious in behind all that, and you have to think about those things at the same time. And that's it from shorter but special edition of Ben Shatliff Tonight. So I aim to do this programme every Thursday at 7:30, as well as Ben Shatliff on Sunday. Sometimes other things can crop up. We don't always able to do that. On Sunday's edition of Ben Shatliff on Sunday, we will remember the victims of the Barbie massacre, and that is 83 years on. And we will also be looking at all the latest of not just what's happening in Ukraine, but also in the Middle East as well. And we'll go over some of the key points from this week's Labour Party conference that was in Birmingham. There we go. I've made an error there. That was in Liverpool, and then look ahead to the Conservative Party conference taking place in Birmingham, which starts this weekend. You've been watching Ben Shatliff Tonight on Thursday, September 26, 2024. Good night, and thank you for watching.